Hey everyone, Condor K here, and actually that was actually one of the first things I wanted to talk about, kind of, like before I get into reading the reviews on this other nice little fanfic that I started writing, I don't know, a week ago. I'm actually really considering changing the name to my YouTube channel. It's just like, I have like, I don't know, 6 Let's Play series and countless other random videos referring to myself as Condor. I don't know why I came up with that name, honestly. I think I said this in an episode of one of my Let's Plays. I don't know why it exists. Because for the longest time, my handle online has permanently become Xenos, or Xenos20 to be more specific. Xenos is what I use on fanfiction, on Tumblr, on Twitter, on DeviantArt, on Archive of Our Own, on almost every place I can think of, and then just YouTube for some reason is Condor K. I don't get it. That's kind of a lie, I kind of do. Part of the reason was because I think I thought Xenos was maybe, I don't know, maybe that people will have a hard time with it, that they think it's like some sort of, oh, he thinks he's special name, or I don't know. Just, that's the theory that I had, and I just thought I wanted my YouTube channel name to be, I guess, more like calling back to my actual name. The issue is that a lot of people call my channel Condork. I don't blame them, but it's apparent. I don't know. I'm really considering changing it to Xenos to match with everything else. And the 20 specifically comes from the time that I actually started regularly using Xenos was when I had written 20 comics. 20 of my little things, which I have saved in tons and tons of spiral notebooks, but they're nowhere online. Part of them is, but not really, not a lot of them. I don't know, just a little forward there. I'm not sure. I'll probably do it next year, since it's almost at the end of the year. Starting January 1st, whatever videos I upload from January 1st on, I'll change the YouTube, or just on January 1st, I'll change the YouTube channel, and I'll start changing all the branding so that that opening X thing will say Xenos20. I'll refer to myself as Xenos20 and all that stuff because I like it better. That's the handle that I've had for so long. I don't know, Condor K exists out of a weird reason and it really shouldn't, but that's beside the point. We're here today to read the reviews on Hello Xenos, which is a little comedic, short, funny, fun story that I kind of came up with after one of my last reading reviews things, where I was talking about, you know, the fact that there aren't a lot of Xenos in my stories, and I was like, and at the same time that gave me an opportunity, I realized, to write, well, what does Xenos think of all the xenoforms in New LA? And so its story is about Lynn, Cruz, and Elma introducing her to each race of xenoforms in the city, one after another, chapter by chapter. And initially the story was supposed to be a lot more simple than it actually winds up being. The last like 4 chapters change. Anyway, these reviews are all the way up and through chapter 7. And the majority of them are from one person. So, yeah, I bet you can't guess who. But we're gonna begin. So the first chapter was actually about Janix meeting a Nopon. Or just Nopon. Well, it was like an introductory. And then it was about her meeting a Nopon. The Nopon being Tora, who is Tatsu's rival, sort of? I don't know. There's one of Tatsu's Infinity missions starts with you meeting Tora, and then Tora actually has 2 missions of his own. L's second Infinity mission and Mia's Infinity mission are both tied to Tora. He's actually kind of important compared to most of the other Nopon in the city. And I actually really I like him more than Tatsu, to be completely honest. I think Tora should have been our companion. You know, I don't know. I just like him more than Tatsu. But anyway, another cool thing. Well, I guess I can talk about it when someone else talks about it. But we'll start with Rexor888's first review on the Nopon chapter, in which he says, "Guess it didn't take that long to come up with this quick little fic idea after review video 3, huh? Nope. It was pretty instantaneous. Like, I just started writing. Janix saying thanks to Elma and Cruz for waking her up. After knowing about her past, I'm curious how genuine that really is." Yeah, you know, I actually reread that part of the story afterwards, and I was like, yeah, that doesn't sound too genuine. Like, if you just look at it the way that she says it. Thanks for that, by the way, I think is what she says. I can imagine her saying it with a bit of a sarcastic edge, or maybe just an edge, like at all. It's kind of in the way that she talks about Elma and Scales in Love when she says, she sure is something, alright, you know, stuff like that. Too bad Janix's first encounter with the Nopon couldn't have been with some kids. They're so doe-eyed, naive. Wonder what makes most of them become such con artists and stingy businessmen when they grow up. That's a mystery that I don't think we'll ever solve. But yeah, I mean, what other Nopon kids are there besides Tatsu's brothers and sisters? Which are they all named after numbers? Like, that's initially my thought of it. Cause Tatsu would be Ta. H, N, 7, G. Oh man, maybe I'm wrong. I think I'm wrong, but just the other ones like Gotsu, 5, Yotsu, isn't that 6? I don't know, you know, but Tatsu's an oddity. It's nothing's coming to me. Oh well. Anyway, yeah, I don't know about any other Nopon kids besides them. At first, first I've seen a Cheche in a fanfic. Little greedy blue ex-caravan leader doesn't pop up much often. And it's kind of fitting that one descendant of a renowned Nopon should be arguing with a descendant of 2 other renowned Nopon. Is it possible for Chi-Chi to not move into New LA as a result of making the wrong choice in the fireworks for the non-normal mission? Never tried that other option where the fireworks fail and you have to go gather up material and find some Nopon on the mining platforms. Too much effort for too little reward, especially if the outcome's the same. So Cheche, I put him in the story because he was one of the first Nopon that I really noticed in town while I was playing as Cruz. And I thought he was hilarious because I was just running around and then I was like, wait a minute. Is that Nopon eating a hot dog? And I called my sister and I'm like, this Nopon's eating a hot dog. And you know, we were kind of amazed with him. I actually did not know anything about that in terms of Cheche though. I didn't know he was an ex-caravan leader. I don't talk to him that much. And I didn't know that he has anything to do with the Happy Non mission where you try to go and fireworks. I really don't remember talking to it all in that mission. He was relevant to it? I didn't even know you could fail the fireworks, that they wouldn't go off, and then you have to... I didn't know that was a completely separate... But then again, there's another comment you make that also blows my mind in terms of these other things that apparently can happen. I had no clue. But yeah, the fireworks. You're supposed to go to each of the caravans and get them to say, yeah, we'll do fireworks, and the only one that gives you any issue is the one in Caldros where Popote is, I think. I think it's Popote. And he's being very difficult. And is it possible to tell Popote not to come to NLA? Because I was really considering it this time with Janix, but I thought it was kind of a dick thing to do, to not force the grandson to go to his grandfather, or I don't even remember if they're related, and actually be there for him. I don't know, but I don't know. I didn't even know that mission had alternate outcomes. What a fun short fic to pass the time while waiting on Chapter 12 of Scales in Love. Looking forward to future updates. At least I'm inferring that there will be updates based on the AN at the beginning saying that Janix will be meeting with the Xenoforms. I think it'll be a good way of including Xenos in your fics, but without them getting in the way of the meat of your main fics. Plus, I think it'll be a refreshing side project in case you get stuck on your main ones, and Xeno dialogue is a good break from the tedium of human Rothian speech patterns. It really is. It's actually really interesting writing for all the other Xenoforms, because they're weird. Like, the one thing I was really aware of when it came to writing for Nopon was that they don't really talk in the best English, so I had to make it sound weird. But at the same time, I think maybe I did... This is more relevant for a future chapter, but I think I did it a little too much. Like, I made it a little too obviously bad English, but I don't know. I think it's fine. I mean, I know that the Nopon have a habit of saying things with really few words, and they also have a habit of talking about themselves in the third person. Like, Tora do this, Tora do that. So I think I got that right. I don't know. Korai Ravenstaff also reviewed Nopon, saying, "Hey, this one is short and a new video to watch. 2 actually. Scales in Love 3 and 4. The reading stuff. I see that that's your solution for writing out Tatsu. Not a bad one actually. Yeah. So one of my favorite things is because Hello Xenos takes place before Scales in Love. I can write in some things into Hello Xenos that otherwise were missing from Scales in Love. for the longest time, like, because I was always trying to include in Scales of Love a reason as to why Tatsu isn't at the barracks that much, because I don't like him. And I had the theory, which Brexora actually pointed out in one of the other reviews, like, is he traveling? And I'm like, he is. Yeah, that's exactly why he's gone. It's just that I never found time to implement that into to mention that in Scales and Love. And so since this story takes place before, and if you're reading them for the first time, you might come across this one first. I don't know, maybe. It makes more sense for this one to be first, and for me to put the stuff in here. Because now that you know chronologically that Tatsu isn't here regularly, it won't be weird when you go to Scales and Love and he's not around for most of the time. Bye-bye, Tater Tot. No one likes you. I'll be honest on this one, not a big fan. Nothing really substantial happens in this one-shot. Oh, well, can't love one. Well, it's not a one-shot, and nothing substantial was supposed to happen. So, if you were expecting some huge thing... I said in the AN that it's just a short little fun story about, Xenos talking to Xenos. That's basically it. It wasn't supposed to be anything huge. It wasn't supposed to have any mind-blowing moments. It wasn't really supposed to develop a lot of different things. It was just supposed to be fun. You know, hey, look, she talks to this nobun, and this is how they get along, or not. Hey, look, she talks to L. Hey, look, she talks to Zarubaga and Orpheans. That's every single chapter, what it's supposed to be. I'm not at all striving to make it. At least I wasn't at the start, but since it's gone on, the chapters have actually gone up. With the latest one that I'm going to submit later today being 3,000 words, I think, which is really long compared to all of them before it. But that's what happens once I really get into something. I just write more, and it gets longer. Anyway, on to chapter 2, which was L. Okay, so Rexor 888 on 2. Already L is leaving an impression on Xenos. Huh, don't know why it never occurred to me that L may in fact be the sole survivor of his race. I don't think that was mentioned in chapter 4, which is when you meet him, I think. But it seems to have struck a chord with Xenos. Maybe that's why she liked him so much when he was at the barracks in Alarm. He too is the last of his clan division, but he doesn't let that alone bother or define him. Also, always happy to see more L from you, and I'm looking forward to more updates on this fic. Yeah, L's fun to write. I really think that I could do better in his misspeaking of... what's the word? Of turns of phrase and weird things. But I can never think of a turn of phrase that he should use in a specific setting, and in a way to twist it into being incorrect and make it funny. So I just have him say some weird things, and I try, but it's a lot harder than I originally thought it would be. Also, I actually had a lot of moments in this chapter where L referred to himself as I, me. You know, not at all the we, the nouns that he actually uses in the story, and I'm like, whoops, I didn't really realize until like my second or third look through on this chapter, and I was like, that was a mistake. Really awkward how I screwed that up. But yeah, L's fun to write. I like L. And then Cormac's review on L. You pretty rarely write L from what I've noticed. Watch both those videos. Damn, that other review writes long reviews. Yeah, the other reviewer, yeah, he does. I like it. It's amazing enough. His reviews are still huge for this short little stupid story. So, I mean, comparatively anyway. But yeah, I'm amazed that you watched both the videos already at that time. It was literally like not even a day later or something, because together the Scales of Love 3 and 4 are like an hour and a half long, and it's like, damn. Then again, since it's just me talking, I imagine that you can put it on as white noise. I think I said that before, but you know, while you do literally anything else more valuable with your time, I don't know, then listen to me go on and on about stuff and talk about things. But yeah, writing L is fun. That's all I'll say. And yeah, actually, I was gonna say this too. I think back when I started Xenos' story, there was a moment where you could talk to Laura Mara, or was it Laura Nara? The one that's in the administrative district on the lower level at the hangar. He if you talk to him really early in the game, he comments about L, and he's like fascinated with L, because, you know, Laura Mara, who cares? They're both really fucking gay, and he's really fascinated with L. And if you have L in your party with you, L will actually talk to him, and the two will talk a bit and they'll say something about L being the only of his kind on Mira, I think. They'll say something to that effect of him being like the only whatever it is he is. Because I thought he was an El Kurfi, El Kurfi, however you say it. I thought that was what his people were called. But the way he introduces himself is that he says we are called El Kurfi, and since we know that El talks in we's and stuff like that, he's not saying that we as a species, what I'm known as, is called an El Kurfi. He's saying we as in I am El Kurfi, but you can just call me El. And so it's like, oh, then what are his species called? I guess we never know, because in the affinity chart it says unknown, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, I'm pretty certain that talk with Laura, Nora, or Mara ends with you realizing, or at least with them saying basically that he's the only one. Whether everybody else died, or whatever happened, or that L just found himself on Mira one day, like everybody else, we don't know. I actually have my own headcanon for it. I don't know if I'll ever use it in any of my stories, but it's just this little thing that I came up with. I don't know if it's true at all. It probably isn't, but it's my own explanation as to why he's the only one on Mira, at the very least. Anyway, so every other review from here is from Rexora, so here we go. Chapter 3 is Manon, and let's read it. The teleporter's gotta be the ultimate test of a Mim's gag reflexes. I seem to recall an NPC saying they felt sick after taking it once. Probably. The NPCs in New LA say hilarious things. And, you know, don't drink the gel, man, don't do it. Elma talking about how valuable the Manon are made me realize how high their death count is, and most of them have been, through the ganglion, namely the Definians, be it directly or indirectly. Really? Like, I know that, well, I mean, obviously a lot of them have been killed by the ganglion. But, like, the Definians specifically? I guess. The one thing that really gets me is that a lot of humans kill a lot of these guys, you know, between Powell and Alex, you know, and stuff like that. It's pretty nuts. And then, of course, there's the random Gauler shooting at the ship from Bedrock Hold. What number victim does he call the Manon when you talk? Bihaba, when you get his quest in the post game, he calls the other Manon, Herodot, I think. Like what, the 13th victim or something? Like right then and there, that Gauler killed 12 Manon beforehand. So yeah, it is pretty nuts how many of them get murdered. I had to take a step back and think about who exactly Fifin and Jajani are. I had initially thought that one of them was that rude Manon who's really impatient about his pizza when they thought Janix was from Army Pizza. I remember that Manon. Last time I talked to that Manon, I was like, oh yes, we're sorry for being late, here you go. This time with Janix, I said, fuck you, take your pizza and shut the fuck up. And it was really fun. I forgot which one that was. That's my only complaint about the Manon, is the sheer number of them. That unless they're really unique, Dr. Stakata, Janemba, and that one Manon girl that doesn't want to do anything but sit around. Oh, the one in the commercial district? Yeah, she's funny. He's like, maybe you should get a job. Nah. Or, if I see them more frequently than the others, Vivin and Meimei, I can't remember their names, and even then, that's not a guarantee. Doesn't help that they have the second largest population of named NPCs in the game. It's either them or Nopon. Fun fact though, I'm 93% sure that despite showing up everywhere in NLA, there isn't a single Manon in the residential district, at least in the post-game. Only named NPCs that occupy every area in NLA are humans and Nopon. And then outside of it, save Primordia for the Nopon. You know, it's funny because like when he said that, I was actually like, there are no Manon in the residential district. None of them. Wow. That's weird. But like beyond the occasional just random ones walking around or the ones just standing around, I'm like, that's crazy. Like in the post game he specifically says. But then I was thinking about the game and I'm like, wait a minute, doesn't Dr. Stakata stick by the cathedral all the time? Does he leave? Where does he go? So you know, but I bought it. I was convinced. Anyway, woe to the delivery girl and her many trips all over NLA. Shame they don't give civilians access to skills. Yeah, I imagine it'll be easier once the city's complete to deliver. But yeah, having to make it up to the Manon ship every single time means going from the commercial district to the administrative and taking the teleporter up, which actually isn't that long of a drive, I don't think, from Army Pizza. Could be wrong. But as a walk, maybe a bit much. I don't know. I don't walk anywhere. I either run or I fly. This was equally fun read. I don't know how it was for you, but I find writing for Manon to be difficult, mostly because of their speech patterns. I'd have to look closer, but I don't think there's a set pattern to when they'll repeat a certain word, what kind of words they do or don't repeat, and when they end on a question. It isn't the most natural thing for me to write, okay? So with that said, it's tough for me to say how accurate your Manon speak is compared to in-game, but since I'm no expert, I'll just go with pass or fail, and it's pass as far as I'm concerned. Well, thank you for the pass. And yeah, Manon are weird. I was actually talking to them doing some quests recently in the post-game, and Bihaba, specifically, during his quest, ends like every single line of his in a question. And it's like, do they always do this? But then I talked to another Manon and he didn't. And it's really weird. And of course, the words that they go, right, yes, no, so, maybe, I don't know. Just different things. Whatever. It's like, when it comes to writing Manon, end on a question sometimes and repeat a word 3 times. And you got it, I think, anyway. Unless some other pattern comes rising up from the grave. I think we got it. And then his next review on Chapter 4 was actually talking about Chapter 3, so still on Manon. He says, great, wish there was an edit function because now that I'm looking at my previous review, I only just realized that I had a major brain fart saying that there's no named Manon NPC in the residential district when I mentioned Dr. Staccato, who actually lives there, who actually stands there in front of the cathedral, you know, like I just said, me, not the review. Kind of glad I said 93% sure back there, but that doesn't make it any easier to look back on. I bought it. I honestly thought, he's right. Like, I had a sneaking suspicion, but then this review came out and I'm like, oh, okay, then yeah, Dr. Staccato is there. I wasn't just crazy. Anyway, Chapter 4 is on the Orpheans, and he left a review on it, because of course he did. This one, though, is listed as guest. But it is him. He says so later. Not exactly the most enthusing chapter, but unless they're getting into trouble or hatching some kind of scheme, the Orphan aren't the most enthusing either, in my opinion, unless you spend a lot of time learning about their culture through missions. Guess you work with what you've got, and you made it work pretty well. Even preempting my question about why Minbarak will go to the tennis courts to begin with. Only details left out that I can think of are land court and the fact that Red Orpheans are more prone to irrationality and rebelling against their Uva. But now it's not really the time or place for that. So, I got a lot to say about the Orpheans. Minbarak. I meant to read the story to actually check which Orpheans I used, and I used 2 specifically. Minbarak. What do you mean? Because you say why Minbarak would go to the tennis courts. The one that I'm pretty sure the one that Xenos talks to in Orpheans is Monbarak. Let's see. It is. It's Monbarak, and the reason he came to the tennis courts to talk to Xenos was because he didn't recognize her, and he was interested. Unless you're talking about the other Orphean who was playing tennis, which that was... where is he? I'm looking at the story right now. Monbarak is the one that she's talking to. Yes. Let's see. Tonbarak. He is the one who you actually finish who I believe you get the gold Nopopotamus from to end the trade agreement quest. And he's the one that I think if you talk to the other sports people there at the tennis court, they'll say how they taught him how to play tennis, and he's like a master at it. So that's actually in the game. As for Landcourt, I actually forgot who he was. Then I remember that he's the one that remained behind with the Ganglion. And of course the Red Orpheans. I find it, I guess, I don't know if this is bad for me to say, but I find it funny that the Red Orpheans, the female ones, are the ones who just cause so many problems. I don't know, I find it hilarious that they're like, oh no, rebel against the Ova, and then they break off into a split and go to the Divine Roost and I'll get murdered by Telethia and get eaten by it, and it's like, I didn't feel sorry for them at all for that quest. I'm like, you guys are fucking idiots, you know? Apparently there's a good ending to that quest if you kill Telethia, and bring the Red Orphean's Ova back to the Green Orphean, but I'm like, why? They deserved it for being idiotic, you know? I don't see the point, you know? Whatever. Orpheans are weird. But yeah, I mean, writing for it was kind of fun because Monbarak just answered every single question that Xenos had with like an essay, and I just thought that was entertaining. Let's see. onwards to chapter 5, which is on the Zarubagan. Okay. Yes, the guest review on chapter 4 is me. Don't know what it is, but I'm making a lot more mistakes in these reviews than I am for the ones in Skulls and Love. That's fine. Typos happen all the time. I do it all the time. They sneak through. There's my oldest fanfiction from like 2008 probably still has typos all over it. I'm never fixing those. You crazy? I have no reason to go back and touch that story ever again. I'm not certain what the term for Zarubagan procreation is myself. The Xeno Wiki is about as unreliable on this matter as it's been for some time. Yeah, the Xeno Wiki, if you're not looking for just like, where's this quest? How do I complete this quest? Where's this item? Where's this tyrant? It's not gonna help you. Luxar's second in command, not even Luxar's second in command, just Luxar's aide. The dude who comes, he's like, Grand Counselor Luxar, Grandmaster Luxar, this bad shit's happening. You know, that guy? The wiki is not, he's not listed at all. There's not even a Luxar's aid page with him that says, there's not even when they're talking about the story, they never bring him up, and it's really unreliable in that way. So, TV Tropes uses Discord to describe it, as do you here, but I'm not certain that if that's a term used in-game. Wonder if it shows up in any of Traco, Lythern, Arsenican's, or Orleron's missions, or if Traco, Lythern, mentions it in an as discussed response that you can't see after a certain point. If it's the former, someone on YouTube might have posted it. See, I actually didn't know. My original thing was that he just says, my original line for the story was that Traclo says he was just born. I guess that's how you humans would put it. We have another word for it, and then Janix never asked what the word is because I don't know what it is, so I couldn't give her the answer. But then I was actually playing the game, and I was stopped by the integrated production plant where Tracker, Lythern, and Arsenican are, and I talked to them, and I found out actually from Arsenican, or from Traclo, one of them said that Orleron is Arsenican's kid, and in the original version of this story, I wrote that Orleron is Traclo Lythern's kid. So I actually had to go back in and edit some lines to fix it up because it's weird. I made those mistakes, and I'm like, oh, how did I get this mixed up? But yeah, and also they do say Discourse. Discourse is absolutely the word. I don't know if they still say it in the post game. I highly doubt it, but you could go check. You could go to the plant and talk to Lythern and Arsenican and see if one of them say it. Let's see. What else did he say? Anything else? Okay. So I take it that Cruz either has regained a few memories of his past life or someone dug up a personnel file on him. I was confused as to what you meant because Cruz didn't really do much in this chapter. The other characters don't really. It's always Janix and a Xenoform. At least in this first few chapters. It changes a bit more when I start trying to get a bit more out of the story. But basically, Cruz is talking about, or at least trying to talk about, the integrated production plant and how it works, and the technology that goes into it, this and that. And the whole time Janix is really close to having a meltdown. Not because of Cruz. She's not annoyed at him. It's something else. It's the fact that they're in the industrial district completely. But Cruz, I take it, Cruz was kind of like inspired to do that whole spiel by my reaction to learning about the integrated production plant, and also by the fact that because he once was a techie, he's always so interested in techie stuff still. So when someone told him how the integrated production plant works, he was like, whoa, really? And he kind of like looked into it, and now he likes telling people about it and stuff like that. Because the integrated production plant, literally in game they say that they gather like grass and weeds and just natural recurring stuff in Mira. They pop it in one end of the production plant, and it transforms it into food. That's how they get all the absurd amounts of frozen pizzas that they need for the absurd amount. HB even says that when he's having a heart-to-heart in front of the production plant, I think. He says, aside from the astounding increase in production of pizza, nothing's wrong here. So it's like, it's just a very interesting piece of technology. This is very advanced, obviously. When does the game take place again? 2046 or something like that? Or I guess 2048, skipping 2 years for the space travel. Before they crash landed on Mira. Preempted again. I was going to comment on the fact that Orleron was taking some time away from Vera / the man on the ship if she wasn't in a relationship with him in your headcanon, based on the fact that he doesn't have the rough manner of speaking that I assume he'd acquire if he studied in LA, but you beat me to it again. Yeah, that bugged me so much. I did the mission Child of Mira again, which is the one where you learn about disgorging and how Zarabogan reproduce, and you get to tell Orleron to either study with the Zarabogan or study with humans. And my first time in the game, I'm like, well, obviously study with the Zarabogan. Duh. You know, because they're Zarabogan, they would know. And the second time, I reached the exact same conclusion. I'm like, why would you ever study with humans? But then when I found out that the Child of Mira includes the Vera portion, I was like, shit, if I told him to study with humans, maybe Vera would more openly like him. Fuck. Granted, if you do finish it the Zarabogan way, regardless of what answer you pick, if you tell him to be gentle with her, if you tell him to be very passionate, she's still, her affinity link to him still says that she's attracted to his strength in the case of telling him to be more passionate, or attracted to his, I don't know what the other word is for being more gentle. So, like, I guess either way, if he studies with the Zarabogan or with the humans, he ends up with Vera. So that's good. I was still kind of pissed off that I screwed that up. Traclo's been picking up habits from Orleron, aka Mr. Surging Loins. Yeah, I forgot that he said that line. That was one of his lines. I thought that was great. I guess it's better than learning from Foscaron. Yeah, Foscaron. Ironically, you shouldn't. I mean, not ironically. Metaphorically speaking, you probably shouldn't learn from Foscaron. You know, because like a good metaphor, he doesn't make any sense. But yeah, so the reason, and I hand-waved it. Originally, the reason that Traclo picked up habits from Orleron is because I thought Traclo was Orleron's dad. But since it's actually Arsenican, the fact that Arsenican and Traclo hang out together also kind of makes it so that Orleron is told by Vera that basically Arsenican's your dad. So you should spend some time with your dad. So Traclo comes by every once in a while to just talk with Arsenican because, well, I guess why not? And since Traclo is always next to him, he kind of picks up on it. He listens to their conversations. And because, unless I'm mistaken, this is another hard part about writing other Xenos. Zarabogan and most of them don't actually seem to laugh too often. Like Orpheans included, they don't really laugh at jokes, and they don't really have a lot of humor to them. So when I wrote Traclo chuckling, I'm like, I don't think he'd ever do that. So I actually, I had to write in Janix picking up on his humor and him answering as to why it is that he feels that way and stuff like that, and why he reacts that way to certain things that Janix says. Yeah, it's really hard. And another thing, actually, I don't think I made a mistake. I'm not going to reread the Zarabogan chapter, but Zarabogan don't have visible faces. The only one that does is, shit. I just did his mission too, and I forgot his name. The one on the Manon ship who asks you to open the disc to reveal what Golbaga looks like. I forgot his name, but he actually is not wearing the full helmet, and you can actually see his like frog-like face. But aside from him, and even in his case, I don't think you can actually see his mouth. But they don't have faces. So I had to avoid saying smiled or doing any sort of facial descriptor for them. I think I did well, and I don't think there was a single one in the chapter, but I had to make a mental note of that. It actually didn't bug me as much as this chapter as it did with the prone chapter, which I was actually a lot more careful with. Let's see. Love how already Cruz knows how to tease Janix and how she's having none of his techno babble. Didn't take long for them to act like brother and sister. Yeah, it didn't. I like their relationship. This chapter was a lot of fun to read. I did notice, though, that perhaps it's due to the short nature of them, but there's been a couple typos in this chapter and chapter 4. Lynn, what's next? Or who's next? Are you our guys just born this way? Maybe the same bug's affecting me, too, with my past few slip-ups in reviewing. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. You'd think it'd be easier to catch all the typos since the chapters are shorter, so I can reread them faster. But I guess it suffers from the whole thing, the fact that I've read this chapter like 80 times, so I know what the chapter's supposed to say. So I just go over a typo because it's like, I know this line because I've read it 20 times says, "Are you guys born that way?" It doesn't say, "Are you our guys born that way?" It doesn't, because it's supposed to say, "Are you guys born that way?" So I just I read it, but I don't really read it, and it's really hard. Especially because Word doesn't pick up on that as a spelling error or even a grammatical error, because it's correct. You know, R is spelled correctly, and it's not in the right place at all. But Word's like, eh. I don't even know if you can develop an algorithm for a computer program to pick up all kinds of errors like that. Honestly, Word makes a lot of stupid things though sometimes. Every time I write actually or really or very, it wants me to get rid of them because like use concise language, and I'm like, no, she's actually surprised. It's like whoa. It's not like she's just surprised. She's actually surprised, like it caught her off guard or something like that. Fuck you, Word.